Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Today's video I will be showing you guys on how to cut and sew this beautiful style. It is very easy to make as always. I used two different fabrics to achieve this style: African print mixed with Mikado fabric. You can use any fabric to mix with the African print. You can use dry lace, you can use ashoke, you can use duchess, you can use crepe, and you can also use Mikado. I used Mikado fabric to mix with the African print. So if this is what you would love to learn how to make, please sit back, relax and enjoy the tutorial. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, click the red button down below to subscribe, and also click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video you will be notified. Without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. These are the two different fabrics that I used to achieve the style: African print and Mikado fabric. I'm going to measure 20 inches from the Mikado fabric, and I'm going to rule that into a straight line and cut it out. My fabric has been neatly folded into 4. On my starting line, I impute my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch. I measured neck width 3 inches, neck depth for the back 1 inch, neck depth for the front 3 inches. Then I connect the necklines. I measured 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I connect to the neck width. For my armhole depth, I measured 9.5 inches. It's supposed to be 9 inches, but I added half inch to it because I don't want it to be tight on me. I impute my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches ease allowance and 1 inch seam allowance. Shoulder to my waistline is 17 inches. On my waistline, I impute my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches ease allowance and 1 inch seam allowance. Shoulder to my hip line is 25 inches. I impute my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches ease allowance and 1 inch seam allowance. Then the length of my dress is 65 inches including hemming allowance. Then I connect the shape. From the hip line, I slant it out a little to have a little A shape towards the lower part. Just a little. I find the midpoint of my armhole. I mark the midpoint. I came in by half inch for the front armhole. Then I connect. Then I also connect for the back armhole. Before cutting it out, I'm going to add half inch seam allowance And that's about it for the drafting. Very easy. For my pocket placement, I came down 2 inches below my waistline. Then I mark 7 inches for the pocket opening. So I'm cutting the back neckline first, the shoulder slope, the back armhole, and the sides. I'm going to notch it, the pocket placement, before removing the back bodies. So I'm going to cut the front neckline and the front armhole. Then for the front slit, I came down by 4 inches. From the folded edge, I split it open to meet the 4 inches mark. I have a detailed tutorial on how to cut and sew inseam pockets to a dress. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below in case you don't know how to cut and attach pockets to a dress. The video is going to be very helpful for you. For the plain design, you will fold it into 2 as if you want to cut facing for the neckline. Then I'll pin the 2 together, making sure that the folded edge aligns together. I'm going to trace the neckline, the shoulder, and the armhole. I'm going to split the facing open to meet the 4 inches mark. I'm also going to cut the length as well. I'll remove the bodies and continue with the plain fabric. From the shoulder, I came down by 4 inches. Then I measured 13 inches downward. On that 13 inches mark, I measured 3.5 inches straight down. Then I ruled that into a straight line. From the 4 inches, I curve it to join with the 3.5 inches, like so. That's about it, guys. Next is to cut it out. After cutting it out, I'm going to iron hair stay to the wrong side of the fabric. I'll first of all take the bodies to the ironing table. I'm going to iron the center front to give it gaiters mark. That gaiters mark is going to serve as a guide for me to centralize the plain fabric on it. I've ironed estate to it. This is how it looks. The right side of the Mikado is facing the wrong side of the bodies. So next I'm going to take to my sewing machine and sew 1/2 inch. You are not going to sew on the neckline. This part that I'm marking is where you will sew 1/2 inch. Only this part that I'm marking is where you will sew 1/2 inch. After that, you will notch it and turn it over to the right side. I've sewn it. Next is to notch it and turn it to the right side. I'll take to my ironing table and give it a good press. From the crease line on the bodies, on the ankara, I know where the center part is, so I'm going to place the hemming gum on the crease line. Then I'll cover it up with the Mikado fabric. I'll make sure that it is rightly placed at the center. Then I will take to my ironing table and give it a good press. I pin it down so that it won't be moving around. Then next, I'll take it to my ironing table and give it a good press. I've given it a good press. So next is to use bias tape to highlight the edges. I'm going to put the fabric in between the bias. Then I'm going to use my machine to stitch it down at the edge. I'm going to do that straight down, and I'm also going to repeat the same thing on the other side. After that, I'll place the front bodies and the back bodies together and join them at the shoulder. So this is how I'm sewing it. You take your time, you place the fabric in between the bias like so. Then you stitch it down. You will continue with this process till you get to the top. So this is how it looks. Next is to join the front and the back bodies together at the shoulder. I've joined the bodies together at the shoulder, as you can see. So next is to measure the neckline. Whatever measurement you have, add 1.5 inches to it. This is my collar stay. I'm going to draft on my collar stay. I'm going to input the measurement I got plus 1.5 inches. Then the collar height, I'm going to measure 1 inch. And cut it out. I decided to use collar stay because it is strong. After washing the dress, the collar will still be firm. So I'm going to place it on the plain fabric because this is the fabric I want to use for the collar. I'll take to my ironing table and first of all iron it down to the fabric. You will iron it on the wrong side of the fabric. I've ironed it down as you can see. So before I will trace it out, I'm going to add 1/2 inch allowance all through. Then I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to place it on another fabric and trace it out. Place the right side facing each other. Then I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew at the top 1/2 inch, very close to the collar. After that, the down part, I'll fold it inward like this and give it a good press. I've done that. As you can see, I'm going to trim out the excess. Please, before trimming out the excess, open the seam up, sprinkle water on it and iron it very well. After that, I will open it up and give it a good press so that it will relax. Next, I'm going to take my bodice. I've already folded 1/2 inch and I've already ironed it. So I'm going to take my bodice I'm going to start sewing from the wrong side of the bodies. I'll place my collar, making sure that it comes out half an inch more than the neckline. Let the collar comes out half inch more than the edge of the neckline. Let it come out half inch more than the edge of the neckline. Then you can pin it down first of all. After pinning it down, then you take to your sewing machine and sew half inch all through. You are sewing on the part that does not have the collar stay. I brought the collar, I marked my half inch that I will be sewing on. I marked half inch first so that I'm going to follow the line. I rolled the half inch into a straight line so that when I place the collar on the neckline, the line is going to serve as a guide to sew on. I've sewn it, as you can see. I'm going to finish up the collar on the right side of the bodies. Just follow my hand, you will understand it. Remember that we have excess, so I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold it like so. Then I will take to my sewing machine. I'm going to follow the line of the collar and sew it straight down. After that, I'll trim out the excess and finish it up on the right side. I've sewn it. This is how it looks, so I'm going to trim it out. Then I will turn it over like so. After that, I will take to my sewing machine and sew it down. I will repeat the same thing on the other side as well. I've sewn the other side and I will trim out the excess. So this is how it looks. I'll take to my sewing machine and stitch it down. After stitching it down, it's going to look like this. I'll stitch it down. This is how it looks. Very neat. Next is to cut my sleeve and attach it to the bodies. If you've watched up until this moment and you are yet to subscribe, please click the red button down below to subscribe to my channel. I've drafted my sleeve. I believe you all can draft sleeve. Basic sleeve is very easy. For the sleeve length, I use 13 inches. Then for the band, I use 5.5 inches for the band. So after cutting, I will attach the sleeve to the bodies and sew my pocket, sew the sides, hem the down part, and give it a very good press. That's about it, guys, for today's tutorial. I hope you find my tutorial helpful. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Also remember to click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye.